This is our first unit in activity for our electricity unit. You will have a new packet that will be looking like this on the front of it, and I will link this to the calendar. So it's going to be called Physics Closed Loop Model Unit Current Electricity. It's topic number 1. So we're going to run through these different activities, and I'm going to record them and do the activity as you see in the packet. Now, you will notice that on each activity there is going to be this large V right here on the page, and there's some reading you need to do for this first part. It says, in the middle of this page is a question. Over here is a table. I didn't print it here, and this is where you're going to predict, and then over here is where you're going to make observations. So you do your predictions before I do the lab. Okay? So on this first one, your sheet should look like this. You need to look at the setup that I have on the floor. I have letters by each point, A through F, and so those letters are down here on the table. And I'm asking you, if I unhook it at this point right here, so I have 3 batteries in this battery holder, and then I have a light bulb here and a light bulb here. If I unhook it at position A, will bulb 1 light? So bulb 1 will be this one, bulb 2 will be the bottom one, just like your diagram is on your sheet. So bulb 1 will be on the right for us, bulb 2 will be on the left for you. Okay? So this is the way I set it up because of the camera. So you're going to be looking at that, and I want you to say, if I unhook it at position A, which is right here, will the bulb light? Will the first bulb light? Will the second bulb light? If I unhook it at position B, which is right here, will the first bulb light? Will the second bulb light? So you just make your predictions: light, lit, or unlit. Okay? Once you make those predictions, then I would like you to stop the video right now, make your predictions, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do these for you. Okay? So stop the video, make your predictions before you restart. So I'm just going to pause for a minute here. You can stop it and then get started with making your predictions. So to start with, when I connect this, I have all of these connected, and the bulbs are, this is where it's connected. I kind of shut my lights out so you could see the brightness of the bulbs. Okay? So, observations. When I disconnect at this point right here, A, what happens to the bulbs? I'm going to reconnect that. The bulbs light. Then I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to disconnect at position B. What happens? I'm going to disconnect at C. What happens? I'm going to disconnect at D. Reconnect. Disconnect at E. Reconnect. Disconnect at F. Reconnect. Now, one other thing I'd like you to do, and we didn't do it this time, was I would like you to explain why you put those reasons that you put down for position B, D, and E before I would have done this, and I kind of messed that up myself. So if your predictions were right, that's great. If they weren't right, we need to kind of clarify and explain why they aren't right. Okay? So I'm going to move this camera, and I'm going to try to fill out this sheet to see if we can get a good video looking at this sheet. So my next part is looking at how are we going to fill this out. So our conclusion on this should have been something like this. Wasn't the conclusion that whenever we broke the path in the circuit, the lights went out? So when a broken path was in the circuit, and it didn't matter where it was, right? The lights were unlit. So for terms for this, we have two terms. One is a closed loop, and one is an open loop. Go back over here right now. We would call this a closed loop. The light bulbs are lit. All of the connections are made from one wire to the next wire, to the bulb, to the battery. That is a closed loop. So to define a closed loop, we're going to say it's an arrangement that allows the bulbs to light. Okay, I'm going to go back over to my bulb setup, and we're going to talk about an open loop. An open loop would be this. Any place where I open this up, so I have it open, we can see there's a disconnect there. The bulbs are not lighting. So go back to the sheet, and where I have open loop, we're going to say an arrangement that does not allow the bulbs to light. So we should understand the difference between an open loop and a closed loop here, so that we can understand what electricity requires. So this is the conclusion for activity 1. So every day we'll just do one activity and move forward through this electricity.